Hello guys, join me. I know it's late on the East Coast, but I'm awake. If you're awake, join me. Tell me where you're signing in from. Hi guys. I'm going to talk about something that every one of you has experienced. I can guarantee it. So you have to just wait till people sign in, and then I will share with you what I believe every one of you has dealt with, certainly at least once in your life. And if you haven't, then you can tell us how you have escaped the clutches of what I'm about to talk about. So we have Saratoga, Toronto, hey Hanette, hi Tisha from San Francisco, Abbey from Sydney. Hi guys. So here's what I'm going to talk about today. How to deal with freaking unconscious people in your life. How do you deal with unconscious people? So in my practice as a therapist, sure enough, I get complaint after complaint. I have to say, by women mostly, who are trying to awaken, and they have a hard time with, I have to say, sometimes the men in their lives or friends and family who simply don't awaken. Now what do? You're on this path, you're trying to awaken, and it's a shitstorm of unconsciousness all around you. What the hell do you do? How can you keep your sanity when you're surrounded by the bumbling idiocy that unconsciousness brings into your life? Here you are, like ready to have a conscious evening, and then some bloody unconscious person from your life, past family, friends, calls you and dumps that junk on you. Now what do? You're like, I was just sitting here. I was okay. So here's the thing. Women especially have created such abominations of themselves by putting up with negative behavior that to unravel the patterns, especially if you're a woman, is really hard. Tell me if what I'm saying is resonating or not. Now, why do I say especially women? Well, because, we happen to live. Diani says, first I need to inhale my essential oils. Yes, my kids do this to me all the time. Yes, I forgot the children, the unconscious children, the unconscious offspring that have come mostly from your partner's genetics. What about them? Here you are, like relaxing, ready to go to bed, and the unconscious children start. So why do I say women more than men have created abominations of themselves, patterns of destruction where they have given up their power, where they have created abysmal boundaries, where no one pays attention to who it is they are, where they've put everyone before them and now no one gives a hoot about them. Now they're in eternal misery, resentment, and burnout. Why women in particular? Because women live and have grown up in this thing called a patriarchy. Now, we don't just live in a benevolent patriarchy. We live in a toxic, putrid patriarchy, okay? We have to accept it with a smile, but we cannot deny that it's a patriarchy of putrescence, okay? I say it all with humor because otherwise we will be depressed, okay, every day of our lives. If we really understood the degree of putrescence of our current patriarchy, we would be not getting out of bed. So we have to have humor. It is what it is. But we have to know what it is and not pretend it's something else. So women in particular have to deal with this bullshit, okay? Now, what does this patriarchal bullshit do to us women? We literally give up any vestige of who it is we could have been in childhood. Our parents train us, they condition us to zip up, to play small, to not know our worth, to stand at the back of the line, to put everyone before us, right? And even if our parents didn't do it to us, it's okay. The toxic patriarchy will seep into our brains and take over our minds and condition us into robotic stupidity, really, ignorance completely, where we live our entire lives as shards, vestiges of who we could have been. So women, more than men, have given up their power. Now, does this mean men don't give up their power? Please do not call me if you're a man saying, you only talk about women. Men give up their power too. Not the same as women, because we women have grown up in a toxic patriarchy. In the same way as white people cannot equate themselves with black people. Sorry, I have to say this. Sorry. I cannot control the mouth. There's just no comparison. In the same way, men cannot compare themselves with women, okay? Women in particular are at the bottom of the patriarchy. That's why it's called a patriarchy, not a matriarchy. If we were living in a matriarchy, I would be talking about the poor men. But we're not living in a matriarchy. We are living in a very toxic patriarchy. And the toxic patriarchy has a particular set of conditions that raise us women, in particular, to be silent, mute, servile, subjugated, and completely lacking of worth. So as a result, we women deal with unconscious males and friends and family more negatively than men do, because we are trained to be obedient. We are trained to shut up. We are trained to not technically be assholes. Okay? Now, men are not trained to be assholes. It's just that the patriarchy turns the other cheek. That's all. And men are not assholes. I did not say that. I'm just saying that the patriarchy is toxic. Okay? So, how do we women deal with the unconsciousness around us? Well, we are asked to do something which is so hard for us women to do. Do you know what that is? What do we need to do when we deal with unconscious people that we women have a really hard time doing? What do we not know how to do? I'm reading your comments. What is the one thing we women are pretty abysmal in doing? We get a C grade as a, collective. No, I'm waiting for your answer. Step away from the crazy. Yes. Nolari said it. Boundaries. We don't know how to create boundaries. You are right now listening to someone who has failed up until now, and even now I'm barely getting a C grade, in effectively, compassionately, with strength, creating boundaries. I only knew how to create boundaries two ways. One, not to create them. And two, if I did create it, I would only do it when I was acting like a freaking lunatic. Because to say no was so abhorrent to me that I could only say no if I was literally at the edge of sanity. So when I was at the edge of sanity, then I could say no. But by then I was a lunatic ready to be tied up. I didn't know, I'm learning how to create powerful, simple, effective boundaries. So difficult for us women because we don't want to create conflict. We are lovers, we are nurturers, we are connectors, right? We want to make people happy. But when people are so unconscious, we got to snap out of it and create boundaries. And because we want to be lovers in essence, to say no feels unloving to us. So we can only say no if we're completely out of our minds and we're screaming, or we just say yes. So one of the things that I write about in my book, A Radical Awakening, and in this book, by the way, I talk about my own journey in stepping into my sovereignty and my power. Take my course, my 10-day course at aradicalawakening.com. I'm going to talk about this stuff with all you women, and we're going to go deep and dirty into our issues and how to break free. So take my course. You get 3 books for free with the course. It's my only course in 2021. aradicalawakening.com. Yes. So the only way that I realized that I could finally create boundaries was when my own self-love was greater than my love for being the pleaser, right? This is our problem. We are so attached to an image of ourselves as the good one, as the connector, as the mother, as the nurturer, as the appeaser. That image is the way we have gotten worth. That's how we got our parents to adulate us or to love us or to give us validation. So that image of ourselves as being the pleaser, as being the nurturer, as being the connector, the team builder, the mother of the family, right, so to speak. That image is what we believe ourselves to be. So for the sake of that image, we will do anything to keep the peace, including letting people walk all over us. My daughter once told me when she was around 14, now she's 18, she's like, you know, Mom, you're like those really plush carpets, those soft, furry, thick carpets. And I was like, I am? And then she said, yes, the carpets that everyone likes to walk on. I was like, I am? My daughter always tells me, Mom, just say no. I was like, how? She's like, N-O. 2 letters, 1 word. And I was like, don't make me say no, because then my image of the giver and always the one who's available will shatter. And I like that image. I think that that image gives me respect and validation. Without that image, who are we? And that is the struggle. Deep down in the heart, the mind, and the psyche of the empathic woman. She is doomed by the unconsciousness of those around her because she herself is unconscious. Now this was a bitter pill for me to swallow. I was like, me? Unconscious? How am I unconscious? I'm so nice. I'm so loving. And it was only when I went through my radical awakening, buy the book, take the course, buy the book, take the course. And I talk about my epiphanies in this book. It was only when I realized that I was actually living my image and not my authentic self that I had a somber wake-up call. I thought I was just being so loving. I'm like, how is being loving being false? I show you in this book, and I'll show you in the course. Take my 10-day course. It's my only one for 2021. And in this 10-day course, which is starting next month, with hundreds of women and maybe a few brave men, you will get 3 books for free sent to your house. If your country's customs allows, and if COVID allows, you will get 3 books included in the course. Why wouldn't you take a course to learn something revolutionary about yourself? So when we women realize that we are living a pattern, an image, we're living to an image of who it is we have been conditioned to be, then we realize that this image is a false image. And then, sorry, I have allergies. Then the question becomes, are we ready to let go of this image? Can we let go of our false ways of getting love and validation and replace these false ways with the authentic way? So the authentic way is when somebody is being unconscious around you, it's to leave, to walk away, to say no more, to disengage, to stop engaging in our practices of enabling, to be willing to tolerate not being seen as the good one and being seen as the bitch. When we are willing to pay the price for that authenticity, that's when we can handle the unconscious people in our lives. And then we snap out of being victims, we snap out of being martyrs, and we can truly embody our true self. Now, men are walking around full of their own false selves, yes? It's not just us women. Us women are doomed by our servility, by our silence, by our mutedness. But men have their own false self. This false self of aggression, of competition, of bravado, of their toxic masculinity, of not showing feelings. They're doomed in their own ways. But we're not talking about them right now because we are in a toxic patriarchy. So whether they are really suffering or not, they're not suffering as much as us women. So I'm going to take care of those at the bottom of the totem pole in this equation of man-woman and take care of us women. We women who raise the sons and daughters need to let go of our own false ways of acquiring love and worth. And when we let go of our false ways of acquiring, buying, purchasing, begging for love and worth in all false ways, then we step into our authentic power. When we step into our authentic power, we raise our children to not develop false ways to beg for love and worth and to step into their authentic power. Now we begin to turn the tide, we begin to disrupt the legacies of family patterns, and we begin to become the disruptors of the mainstream cultural conditioning. We begin to change the tide. The tide can only be changed in the oppressed. The privilege will never change the tide, right? When Mahatma Gandhi helped the Indians to reclaim their power from the British Raj, the British were in India for maybe over 200 years. I'm paraphrasing, yes? He told the Indian people, don't be angry with the British. Don't spend your time wasting time fighting with the British. What you have to do is empower yourself from within. And he empowered the oppressed to rise up in their power. He taught the Indians to rely on their own textile industries. They began weaving their own cloth. They hijacked any purchases from British shores. They began to produce their own salt. They basically became self-reliant and self-governing to shut down the British autocracy, the British ships. They sent the British packing by becoming so powerful from within. Of course, it took many millennia. And then the British had no choice but to leave. The exemplification from this story is that if you're oppressed in your life right now, the answer doesn't lie in your oppressor. Never. Do not look to your oppressor to save you. The fact that you're being oppressed means they don't hold the key to your salvation. Only you, by rising into your sovereignty, can change the tide. So it is with us women. This is not being anti-men and men bashing and getting upset with your partner or really going home and rousing a fight with your husbands. This is not about them. This is about us waking up to our own power. And when we wake up, we begin to understand that we are not being held hostage by anyone. Now, of course, there is such a thing as physical endangerment and physical victims and being a physical victim of slavery or rape or subjugation or the Nazi era. Yes, there is such a thing. I don't want us to bypass that there is such a thing. But I'm talking about mental slavery, mental occupation, mental oppression. When there is no physical endangerment, then the power to release ourselves from mental oppression lies within us. So for us women, if you are right now in your life wondering how to deal with the unconsciousness, well, the first question you need to ask is a tough one. Is, how am I co-creating and co-perpetuating this oppression? Allergies. How am I co-creating and co-perpetuating my current oppression? Instead of complaining every time you pick up the phone that this person is freaking unconscious, I can't believe they talk to me like that. I can't believe they're so rude. I can't believe. Every time you say, I can't believe they, I can't believe he, I can't believe she, we have to change the narrative to, I can't believe I. I can't believe I. I can't believe I just picked up the phone. I can't believe I just engaged in a conversation where the other person's dumped their garbage onto me. I can't believe I just did this. Now, we don't do this with shame and guilt and self-hatred and loathing. We do it with, what about me keeps perpetuating this goddamn pattern in my life? Why am I in this again? With compassion, with humor, and with a lot of curiosity. Willing to say, I am somehow perpetuating this pattern, aren't I? This person feels that they can always treat me like this. Must be something I'm giving off, right? Without shame, without abnegation, without loathing. We have to do this as an act of self-love. We don't become the oppressor to ourselves after getting rid of the external oppressor. We have to take ownership of ourselves with compassion and love. So the greatest act of self-love is to say, how do I break my own bloody patterns? How do I change my own destiny? How do I stop this from happening to me every single day where I'm constantly surprised? Oh. And part of it is accepting the other person's raving lunacy, okay? We have to say, oh, this person is really unconscious. Why am I engaging with this unconscious person? The only reason I'm engaging with this unconscious person is because I am not understanding that they are unconscious. It's not getting in. Oh, because I'm in a fantasy. I'm in my own denial. I'm in my own movie. That they are not unconscious. It must be me, right? We blame ourselves. Or we're so attached to that image of fixing everybody, of cleaning up their crap, of being the rescuer or the savior, we're like, oh, I'll just keep doing my thing. No. Part of waking up is understanding that the other person is maybe a raving lunatic and really unconscious. But we release them. We let them go. Because when somebody's a raving lunatic and completely unconscious, we must detach from them. We have to. That is an act of self-love. When our own self-love rises beyond our love for the image of who it is we want to be, now we begin to deal with the unconscious people in our lives with powerful boundaries. Then saying no doesn't even need to be a word that is uttered. Your energy shuts down. You do not welcome them in your life anymore. You are okay with them hating you because they are unconscious. You're like, why do I need love from an unconscious person? Have you ever asked yourself, why do you need love from unconscious people? Only because we are unconscious ourselves. When we rise and awaken to our own power, we stop needing love from unconscious people. We run away from unconscious people. With compassion, with love, we peace out really fast. So the greatest mental health is to recognize the mental health of other people, aka the mental dysfunction of other people, with love and compassion. You're like, I've been there. I've been crazy myself. but I'm getting out of my crazy. But I see that you are still in your crazy. So I cannot play with crazy anymore because I am doing this thing called self-love. And part of my practice in self-love is to say bye to crazy. Now, playing with crazy is an addiction, okay? Because we are in a false version of ourselves. Being in our false version is an addiction. It's all we know how to do. How are we going to stop doing what we've done all our lives? That is where radical awakening comes about. Do you see how thick this book is? It's a thick book because I have written a whole process for how you should awaken from your unconscious patterns. It's not a motivational speech. You know, you can't just listen to somebody and go, okay, tomorrow I'm going to break out of my unconscious patterns. Try it. The pattern doesn't leave you until you radically awaken. So I am doing a 10-day course. If you liked this talk, something resonated, something said, maybe I need to learn how to radically awaken, take my course. The link is everywhere. You get 3 books with the course. If COVID and your country's customs cooperate, you will get 3 books. And it's the only course I'm doing in 2021. There is an early bird. I think it's ending any moment. I don't remember the date. I'm not good with details. And I'm not fear-mongering, but the early bird is ending soon. So get your good price, get your 3 books, enroll for my only course in 2021 where I talk about how you can break free of your patterns, how you can get real with yourself, how you can walk away from crazy and make your inner voice the voice you follow. Make your inner calling the only vision for yourself. No more playing to the tune of the other, only playing to the tune of your inner calling. You are the most important person in your life. If you are not living aligned, you are wasting your life. I didn't wait. Nothing is a waste, yes? My daughter will be like, was I a waste of your time? What I mean by that, to clean up what I just said, is that I was just wasting my time developing my authentic self. I was just wasting my time living somebody I didn't need to be. But I thought I needed to be that person to get love and worth. And you are doing that too. So if you are in your life right now, playing small, playing at the back of the line, playing after everybody else gets their turn, then you need this course. It's called A Radical Awakening. The link is there. It's my only course for 2021. You get 3 books included. Early bird is ending soon. Join me and hundreds of other women to radically awaken, to disrupt your patterns, to change your life from inauthentic to sovereign, from external to internal. It is time for you to wake up to your inner calling. So join me on my course. Thank you for listening to me. Let's awaken. Bye, guys. The link should be somewhere. Can somebody post the link? Jennifer, if you don't see the link, then come back to this video and I'm going to be posting the link after this talk. But you could go to aradicalawakening.com and learn about the book, and there's a link there that says buy 10-day course here. aradicalawakening.com, buy 10-day course here. It's like a big banner. Click that and you will be taken to the course page, and you have to sign an acknowledgement that you will not sue me if the books don't reach, but I am pledging to send 3 books each with every registration, and you get a 10-day course. It's a win-win. Early bird is ending soon, guys. Bye.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.